Corey, wave when you're ready. Okay, here we go. Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1 special meeting is now convened. The time is 9:03. We do have a quorum. Director Thomas is unable to be here today. The regular session, we will start, consider and take appropriate action to approve amendment number 1 to the agreement for water service between the City of Fort Worth and the Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1 for the construction of a north side 30-inch water main and allocated capacity. Discussion or motion?
Well, I'll make a motion so we can have a discussion that we approve the ILA between ourselves and Fort Worth regarding the 30-inch line to be constructed.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Jennifer, was this supposed to be originally drafted? I guess I would like to know, where is Westlake in the process with their, because they have to also have an ILA similar to us.
Yes, the email that she sent out actually had 2 ILAs attached to it. One was ours and the other was Westlake. So they have sent Westlake an ILA as well. It's just separate
From us,
From
yeah.
us. But as far as where they are in the process, I do not know. I haven't seen any correspondence. They may just be directly emailing Fort Worth, not replying to all. So I don't really know where they are in the process, but they have an ILA as well to consider.
What's the capacity that we're participating in?
This will bring us up to 10.3 MGD from what they say is currently 3.7 MGD.
That should be more than sufficient for what's in the future plans.
Yes.
Well, Mike, based on last summer, which was a wet summer, we had a couple of days where we were drawing almost 7 million gallons a day. And that definitely exceeds this 3.7 that they say in here. With their reference to Exhibit A in the existing water agreement, which I think was dated in 2010, do we want to maybe delete that, just that reference to Section A, because, or the Exhibit A, because my view, when I went through that agreement, I couldn't find that particular number. I don't have a problem with them saying the 3.7, but when they say it's in Exhibit A, I don't find it. It's in paragraph 2, fourth line down. Existing capacity at 3.7 million gallons per day shown in Exhibit A of the contract. Well, the only contract that I think they're referencing is the 2010. And when you look at Exhibit A, I don't particularly find it in there. I just wondered, it's just a small thing. I just wondered if we should just delete.
Where are you looking again? I'm sorry.
Okay, of theirs, page 3 of 5. Now thereof parties agree to, and then item 2, if you go down into the 4th line, it says increasing existing capacity from 3.7 million gallons per day shown on Exhibit A to the contract. And the only contract that they're referencing here is the existing 2010 water agreement that we have with Fort Worth. And it has maps, it has everything, but I didn't see that. So I'm just wondering, I'm not arguing with the 3.7, but I would just say on Exhibit A of the contract, I'd probably delete that.
Okay.
See what they say.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
You saying there's no Exhibit A, or it's not on it?
There is an Exhibit A.
Of the original contract, our existing contract is.
Yeah, the 2010 took the place of existing any prior contract, and in an older contract it is there, but it's not there in the newer contract. I'm just saying, if we're going to reference something, we're signing an agreement that references something in an existing contract, it actually has to be there. That's all I'm saying. So
You don't have any problem with the number 1 in that? the last sentence in number 1 on the same page.
Well, it's referring to Exhibit A in this amendment,
Okay.
and the second
Is
is
referring to the
referring to
old
Exhibit A
contract.
in the old
Con- oh,
contract.
Yeah, the
Okay.
2010 contract.
Any other discussion?
And could you also, I see number 6 has been deleted. Your reasoning?
Yes, I felt like that is not applicable to this this amendment at all. This amendment is only about the line from Phase 1 to Westlake's pump station, and we do still have some questions about that line. And if there is someone else that wants to participate, that maybe this might, the way I see this could prevent that from happening. And so it really doesn't have any applicability to this amendment to our contract at all. It's another line. And there's also some questions that we've had all along about, does our ownership start at Westlake's pump station? Some things that we've seen shows that it goes beyond that a little ways. So this kind of ties us into, from their pump station on is fully our responsibility. And I'm not sure if that's the case. So it's going to require some additional research, but since this doesn't really relate to this particular amendment, I think we just delete it out of there.
Okay.
On section, which is now 7, page 4 or 5, it says that the exceeds the requested capacity. Is that just once, or is that, what basis is that on?
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess we could ask that.
I mean, is it like the peak charges and stuff?
Kevin, are you on the new 6?
The new 7 on
The new
page 4 or
7,
5.
sorry.
It says the exceeds the requested capacity, and then the customer will be required to
Well,
pay.
it says when the wholesale meter's reading exceeds the 10.3 projected demand.
But is that
it
once?
sounds like at any time, if it exceeds it, you would be
So
required
it's like a
to.
peak charge.
Well, you would be required to purchase
Yeah.
additional capacity if it's available in the line.
But is that capacity just on that one time, or now we're at a capacity that we exceeded? Say we did 11.5. Okay, do we now pay the 11.5, and then that reduces, I guess, Westlake's capacity? I don't know.
Well, I think the answer to the question is if one time your meter reading exceeds the 10.3, then you would be required they could require you to purchase additional capacity.
Okay, the capacity is limited, right? There's 100% capacity. If we pay the 42.2, and Westlake pays their portion, and I guess
Fort Worth.
well, Westlake has a capacity.
In
then-
Fort Worth, yeah.
In Fort Worth. Okay, we go over. Well, then Westlake goes over. What I'm saying is, okay, now you have more than 100% if we go over.
It might require a new line. But
But I'm
if you
just saying
recall,
if it happens one time.
well, they're saying if it happens one time. But when we did our water model, we looked at peak demands. And that, if you recall, what they came up with was somewhere between 9.5 to 10 million would be 2.5 times our average demand is how you calculate peak demand. So we've got a little bit of leadway there. But it could happen if
What I'm getting at is if they increase our capacity to 11, then between the three entities, you're paying more than 100%. So if we go up, someone has to go down.
Right, it will.
Well, I think what also Kevin's saying is when this is constructed and we pay our share, and Westlake's pays their share, and of course, Fort Worth pays their share. That's money, that's a set amount of money that's been paid for the X expense for building the 30-inch line. With this particular paragraph, it doesn't spell out what the increased monetary costs may be. If you go to, if we go to 11, if we hit one day, we hit a peak day of 11, does that mean then we have to reimburse Fort Worth and Westlake for the 0.7 tenths of you know, is there a share? There's nothing in here to illustrate how this works.
Yeah, how the formula is on
Yeah,
what we pay.
So one thing to request here is that we need additional information that if this is triggered, what costs are associated with it. I think that's the best way to summarize it.
Thank you for clarifying that.
It's that potassium you had this morning with the banana, you know.
Okay, do we, as I understand, Jennifer, this needs to be done today, which is why we have a special meeting. Does anybody want to modify the motion to request Jennifer to
Well, we have
look at
one,
something? Or-
I have one more thing, Mr.
Yeah.
President, and during the water study, there's a 10-inch meter, and even last year with being a wet summer, there's a few times where the meter was at maximum flow. And if we go to this increased capacity, and we will, you'd be hitting this increased capacity in the future. I mean, if it barely can handle 6.8 or 7 million gallons per day, we need a bigger meter in there. So the 1 meter size I heard, if I recall correctly, prior conversation was a 14-inch meter. I think we should also insert language, have the general manager insert language in here calling for a new meter, and probably I'll let her put in what her engineers will tell her, but assumingly it's a 14 or approximate size, but it's definitely bigger than a 10, since if a 10 can't handle what our increased needs are going to be. So, I mean, we'd be building a 30-inch line, and then still the restrictor would be the 10-inch meter. You know, there's only so much water that can flow through it.
I think that's a good idea. I really do. Because we've never really been able to get to a point of when we would be allowed to get a larger meter. And it shouldn't really be dependent on a line that we're solely responsible for. This would be the end of what we're responsible for with Fort Worth.
Right.
To be able to get that larger meter. So I think that's a good idea. I could come up with some language to add that in, that upon our request, we can obtain a larger meter.
Okay.
Okay, do we,
Okay, one more thing on item 3 of 3 of 5. It's estimated to be $4,450,485. Correct?
Our share, yes.
Right, and
The
the thing that
total
gets me is
project's
the
10 million.
estimated. So what do we feel comfortable with that, or is there not to exceed, or, I mean, we just pay our part, whatever it is?
It will be whatever it is, because this is an estimated total.
And are they gonna have a bid that they can tell us what that price is, so we can plan on the financing, or?
Yes, they'll go, they're only at the design phase. They have not issued a contract with the engineer. They've selected an engineer, but they have not actually, they're not going to issue a contract with the engineer until everybody approves the ILAs and signs them. So,
How comfortable are you with that number? That I guess is what I'm asking. Because it's
I-
gone up already.
yeah, I think if it's like the other project, there will be some change orders, and it could go up a little bit, but it always could go down a little bit. They're always gonna find things in the field that they weren't aware of when they're going through there, so, like any project.
It's also the timing. I mean, it's not like they're starting construction in the next 6 months. This is something where they got to go through the design phase of bidding, and this is 1 or 2 years out before we actually see something going on over there.
My concern is I don't want the 4 million to turn into 5 and 6 and upwards. It's already gone up quite a bit since we started talking.
I think we can make our concerns, and of course, they'll
Okay.
give us this usual language, but the last contract we did on where we participated with all the other municipalities and water companies, we saw it go up too. So it started out 700 and eventually it went up to 800 and something,
Yeah, it went up close 200,000.
yeah. So-
Can you amend it, your motion to include what you referenced in here, or just say per reference, and then on number 7, direct the general manager to include some sort of example of payment? And Kari, if you could you pan over to get Jim Hayes in, just so people know he was here? Director Hayes is, okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion?
No.
If not, I think we need a amended.
Okay, since I made the original motion, I'll make the motion that we approve the ILA with Fort Worth regarding the 30-inch line with the following changes regarding on page 3 of 5, deletion of Exhibit A to the contract, regarding new number 7 on page 4, additional language or requests regarding more information on what the costs would be associated with exceeding our limits, namely 10.3. What triggers that, and what would be the cost? I shouldn't say what triggers it. I know what triggers it, but what are the possible costs of districts regarding that? And third, regarding the existing 10-inch meter, that the general manager be authorized to add language requesting the appropriate size as she may determine based on her discussion with our engineers to replace the 10-inch meter, which is inadequate for our needs in the future.
I'll second the revised motion.
We have a revised motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All of those in favor? It is unanimous. There's no other business that needs to be discussed. Any announcements of anything, Jennifer, in your part?
Only don't forget about Waterfest on Saturday.
Well, by the way, I did go over there yesterday, and not that anybody cares, but I can get in there all right. That's not a problem.
Good deal.
So it's a whole lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
What time do you want us directors are showing up? Obviously not at 10 o'clock,
No, if you can get there a little early,
like 8:30-ish, 9?
9 o'clock would be good.
Okay.
I wonder if they're going to have the side doors to the gym open, or if everybody's going to go in the front door. Do you have any idea of what the?
The north and front entrances will stay locked, and all traffic has to come in and out of the south entrances. That is the entrances to the cafeteria and the hallway.
Okay.
Between the cafeteria and the gym.
Yeah, right there at the gym, there's a series of double doors there. I noticed the kids go out of after school.
Yes, by the bus lane there.
Yeah.
Okay, and so they'll be open for us to go in.
Yes, and the cafeteria doors and
Yeah.
the hallway doors there by the gym will
Right.
be open. The front and the north entrances will stay locked.
I was sure that was the way it would be, so, okay, good, that's what I needed to know. Good, thank you, Carrie. If there's no other discussion or announcements,
I would
Director Tom Hayes.
Shirley may substitute for me on the popcorn. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Okay,
Well,
fine.
at least you got somebody reliable.
Okay. Thank you, Director Hayes. There's no further discussion. The meeting is hereby adjourned. The time is 9:23.